All right, so we've been using the cat animation system for the last two assignments, but I'm going to go ahead and switch us to something called Biped. So Biped's one of the original animation systems for characters. It does a lot of really cool things still. It's updated generally every single time Max is. So I kind of want to go over how Biped works, and that way for the rest of the semester, you can decide which one you're going to want to use. Okay, so where we're going to be looking for this is over here in the um, over in your create menu here. So we're on create menu, and then I'm clicking on systems, and then I clicked on Biped. So when you click on Biped, you're going to see a bunch of different options here. Now don't worry about these options, we can adjust them in just a second. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click and drag out a little biped man. And then of course you're going to want to click to like your modify panel or something else to get off that biped creation tool. Now if you notice on the modify panel I can't change anything. So this is very different than how cat works, where everything was on the modify panel. But if I go over to my motion panel, I now have a whole lot of options available to me that aren't ever there for cat. So let's kind of look at these a little bit. If I need to make adjustments to my biped system, I'm going to select figure mode, and inside of figure mode I can go back and adjust that. So maybe in fingers I only want to have 4 fingers, increase the number of splines and all of that stuff. Right, so pretty simple to do there, and then you can get out of figure mode. So the one thing that I wanted to show you in here was our animation tools for biped. You don't have to use animation layers like you did in with cat. This one's pretty easy to do. For biped, you would just use auto key and start animating. However, when you're animating in biped, there's a couple different things you have to remember in that you can't move him. So like if I select this and try to move it, nothing happens. So if you actually want to give him vertical or horizontal movement, you have to use these guys right here, body horizontal and body vertical. So if I click body horizontal, I can then slide the body where I want it to be. And the same with vertical. So this is how you kind of do those walking animations, etc., etc., etc. Let me go ahead and put him back on the ground. So, okay. So the main thing I wanted to show you guys was called, oh, this is also how you rotate him. Whoop, whoop. Okay. So the main thing I want to show you is called footstep. Footstep mode is incredible. Okay, and this is what your next assignment's going to be doing, is creating a whole footstep simulation. And then we're going to go over generating a character with Autodesk's character generator, building that character, putting a biped rig in that character, and then doing an obstacle course with that character. So this is just a real simple footstep animation before we move into the more complicated obstacle course animation. So if I click on footstep mode, you're going to see it changes. Okay, now, and then we have a couple of different options over here. Namely, we have walk, run, jump. Those are important. And then we have create footsteps at current frame. Then we have create multiple footsteps. So what I want you to do is click on create multiple footsteps. Number of footsteps, I'm going to do 6. Okay, so 6 is my number of footsteps. You can pick if you want them to start left or start right. It'll automatically alternate. What do you want your stride length to be? All that stuff. Okay, so a lot of stuff in here. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. So it auto-generates footsteps for me. And you're going, well, okay, what do I do with that? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click Create Keys for Inactive Footsteps. So when I do that and all of a sudden animate, my character walks. My character now has keyframes controlling it. Like if I click on the feet, let me get out of footstep mode. So I click on the feet, you can see I actually have keyframes. These keyframes I can then edit. So I can go through and edit all this, and this is what's going to be required of you for your obstacle course, is to really do a lot of animations in here. right? So you can see now he has footsteps. I'm allowed to move him down or up, right? I don't have keyframe on though, so it's not going to change anything. Okay, so I've got 5 footsteps, and you're probably going, well, that's great, but what if I need to add more footsteps? What if I, for instance, have a box that I need him to climb up on, right? So that's pretty easy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the biped, and then I'm going to go back to my animation, click on footsteps, and then I have a pinned, create footsteps, a pinned. So you can see that the last one that it ended on was 5. So now when I click 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay. So before I do anything, I'm going to hit Q, and I'm going to get out of footstep mode. So then what I can do, I'm not out of footstep mode, but hit Q so I'm not putting them down anymore. Now I can actually slide them around to where I want them. So I know that I want it to be, I want them to step up here. Okay. There we go. And then once he steps up, we'll have him stop at the edge. Now, keep in mind that it's going to follow these footsteps to the letter. So if I, for instance, just an example, take this guy and put it way over there, I'm going to click Create Keys for Inactive Footsteps. I'm going to hit play. Whoop, 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 whoop. Right? So you can see how that works. It can get, you know, obviously pretty terrible. So I'm going to go ahead and move that back into place. Okay. Now what's really cool is the footstep's going to update in real time. I don't have to wait for it. It is in real time that it updated. Right? Now, this is where your keyframes are going to come into play. So you can see how he's throwing himself up there is fairly awkward. So once you got out of key step mode, I could start selecting these guys and looking at where these keys are. For instance, like maybe I don't want that to be swinging all the way over there. So, you know, I can start looking at how I'm going to adjust it, what my options actually are. So you can see there's one. So back into auto key mode. So he's coming over, but that one I need to fix as well. So you can see I'm coming in there and I'm fixing that key. And I think I'm going to kill these ones. Yep. So let's see what it does. Much better. Right? So you're going in there and you're going to edit all of these keys to make them work. And I may need another keyframe in here also, but I can also just simply grab his foot. Okay, so you can see I changed my filter to bone, so that way I can actually come in here and figure out. So at that frame, it's right there. So what is this frame doing? I'm just going to kill that frame, and I'm going to make an adjustment. So here, I'm going to rotate it. So that way he's like really kind of stepping off of it. And then once we're here, I'll raise it up. Right? So you can see it requires quite a bit out of you to make that work. Okay? So the footsteps are going to get you 80% of the way there. For instance, let me come over and look at this foot right here. So we see this guy just kind of doing this weird broken rotation. So I can go in here and fix it. Right? So you're going to go fix it manually. until you get the results you want. So that's like a quick rundown of the footstep control system, but let's kind of look at a couple of other things that it does. So I'm going to go back to footstep mode, and I'm going to click on, so where's this guy in? Right there. So I'm going to switch this to run, and I'm going to tell it to, I don't know if they've made it so it'll actually append or not, but we're going to find out. So I'm going to try to append 16 frames, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I did. Okay, sweet. Now, this is going off of his height, right? So I'm going to go ahead and slide these back down. And then I'm going to create keys, hit play, and he starts doing his little job. Right, so it looks like create multiple footsteps will go ahead and append to the end of into a set of keys. Now, it wouldn't do that before, so it's pretty exciting that it's now doing that. Okay. So, and if you notice, it also adds to my timeline automatically. Now, the run animation is really bad. The run animation they just kind of use to give you a stride length that you would go in and really adjust. Because he kind of does like a little hop thing, like whoop, 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 whoop. Okay. So what your assignment is I want you to go ahead and create a simple walk cycle or a simple walk with using biped and footsteps. And then I want you to go through and have it step up on a box and step off a box. So you're going to need to have it walk, step up on a box, step off a box, and you're going to have to fix those keyframes that it's going to break because a couple of them will get messed up. Now watch this. What's really cool is if I rotate this, he will automatically rotate with them. And I can go in and like just grab a huge chunk of them. Let me switch to square and rotate them. Right, and it all updates in real time. So now you see how he does that. So he actually follows it. Okay. So for your assignment again, just you're going to create a footstep-based animation using biped and have it walk up, step up onto a box, and then step off of the box. And you can go ahead and make this about as long as you want it to be. You're going to want to at least be 120 frames more than likely, just so you really have a good understanding of footprints and how they work. Okay, good luck.